guys. Well, we're here with Edwin Arzeta for his the closing reception of his show, A Little Fall of Rain, here at Family Jules Gallery, and we wanted to bring you in and ask you a few questions about this awesome show. So, anything you want to start off with?
No.
Okay. Good. Good. So, you had tons of people come. I mean, quite a few people come through. Love the show. You kind of worked with the small space that we have to make the show as cohesive as possible. Coming into this show, you are just coming out of school, finishing school, and such. So, I mean, what do you sort of gain from school coming into putting together your first show or curating your own show?
I don't know that I gained a lot from school in terms of putting together a show.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I did and I didn't. Like, putting together a show, I guess I just, like, paid attention to advertising and, like, the way things are set up places.
Mm-hmm.
How do I look at things and what are the things that I'm looking at and, like, why were they set up in specific ways?
Yeah.
And then school, like, helped me solidify why I would do such a thing. Like, we would talk about why something was important in a specific place next to something else, across the wall from something else.
Right.
I went to school at Fullerton College and Victor Valley College. Then I transferred to UCLA, and at UCLA it was like really like intense critique work. We were given a lot of like studio time, but then we had to present a lot of artwork and have it scrutinized by a lot of people who were like really fucking smart. Like, it was like with 18-year-olds that are like fucking brilliant. Like, I could never imagine myself being 18 and being in that position. It was so ridiculous. But it really helped me realize, like, okay, this is what's going on when these things are next to each other, in front of each other, facing each other. Like, there's definitely a conversation between, like, this piece and this piece. I didn't want to make things that were derivative exactly. I just wanted to make things that felt progressive from where they were.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of trying to like take the ideas that I had in school while I was in school and make them more concise. And I think that's just like the way that I've operated, like taking a really like shallow idea and digging deeper into it and deeper and like with every piece that I make it just like expounds upon what I was thinking before.
So, I mean, say something like that's behind us, or a couple of your pieces where you take just something as simple as a rock, but really sort of etching it out and taking a simple idea and just completely transforming it into it, like what you're doing, or what do you exactly mean by that? Because I mean, we see like your recreation of rock in a lot of your pieces. There's a video where you took a rock and bounced it around your apartment as well, and you take this simple idea and just sort of flesh it out and then sort of make it your own. Like, this rock is not just a rock, but it's Edwin's rock, sort of thing.
I see rocks as like a really, really obtuse metaphor for like the idea of powerlessness and like how can something happen without something else interfering. And interference isn't a pejorative, it's just a matter of fact. It's something that happens. Like, no matter what, interference occurs in everything, in all of our lives, in every cycle, every system.
Yeah.
So a rock is a really good depiction of that process.
Okay.
Like, a rock will stay a rock, it'll stay where it is until like erosion corrodes it away. Or till a rock collector, such as myself, comes and plucks it from the earth from where it lay. A rock will just be until it's not able to just be what it was.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really powerful metaphor, and I think I guess in these works, like, I wanted to make them feel like they were levitating and like not as heavy as they truly are. And also, they're pulled from my memory. They're not direct observations. They're not studies. They're just what I remember of what a rock looks like.
Obedecedario.
Obedecedario.
And it's not a real word. I mean, it's a combination of two words. Where it was obedecer is to obey, and then abecedario is like alphabet in Spanish, sort of thing. So I mean, go into, I guess, a little bit of the idea and the process behind this, because it's really amazing. But yeah, go ahead.
I came up with the title after I made it, but I think it made sense thinking about like what an abecedario is, an alphabet, and an alphabet isn't necessarily like a Western alphabet. It's like a rubric of rules to follow, like a triangulation of objects that interact. They affect one another. And I think like that's a relationship between the rocks and the obecedarios, that like there has to be, like, there are certain phrases, certain words that can exist on their own characters, but they're highly affected by other words or characters that are put next to them. And so I thought making a piece like this, the audience, the viewer, I guess this is the only time that I really thought about the viewer, was how the viewer would respond to like a triangulation of things or events happening together. So I wondered, like, how can people look at something like this and find meaning in imagery that isn't necessarily related explicitly, but how can they find meaning through images that aren't explicitly related? So, like, I made these two hummingbird drawings separately, totally independent of each other. And this drawing of a man, which is culled from an El Greco painting that I've been pretty fascinated with. I think the painting is called Leo Juan and His Sons. It's really old, but I saw it in a class during a lecture about color, which is really fitting. It's piece is a lot about color. And thinking also about color and like how does color influence the way somebody sees an image or a thing. And I thought like what, I don't know, like, I guess I spent a lot of time, a lot of my life growing up, like hiding who I was as like a queer colored person, trying to hide my identity and like trying to reconcile now as a grown up, as an adult, like now that I can look back and see that I was being kind of foolish, but also like knowing that I was doing it for survival. Like I couldn't tell people that I was queer and like living in a very like conservative part of the world. How like I was trying to figure out like how to deal with that and like reconcile the fact that I'd been there, but now I'm here and I can look back at that. What is the relationship between like my now and my then? And so with these, I was just thinking like how can I obfuscate the way that something looks versus the way something actually is. And so like all of these objects and all of these events are things that I lived with or like symbols that I lived with. That kept recurring in my memory that I thought, wow, that was really beautiful, or like, that really like tattooed itself in my memory. And then I thought like, wow, like to me like that's kind of an alphabet. That's how I've been living my life, most of my life. And so these images were generated from mostly very, very like happy moments. And some of them were from like not so pleasant moments. And then some of them were just like images or things I lived with.
of man's first disobedience, and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world, and all our woe with loss of Eden, till one greater man restore us, and regain the blissful seat. Sing, heavenly muse, that on the secret top of Oreb, or of Sinai, didst inspire that shepherd who first taught the chosen seed in the beginning, how the heavens and earth rose out of chaos.
Pulling the Forest Along the Road is a collaborative work of Hope Center for the Arts Darren Peterson and mentor artist Diana Marquesinas. Developed through a year-long collaboration, this exhibition is the embodiment of an ever-evolving dialogue through cardboard and paint between two artists exploring what it is to be human, to create, and to understand one another. Their work together culminates in the creation of 32 individual sculptures and sound installation, a forest of unique and quirky individuals. With a single light source up high in the distance shining down, big bright sun, bringing life to the trees, the neighborhood, the houses are lit. Birds jump from house to house to say hello to one another, and a conversation is born from piece to piece. Looking in from the outside, a foreign visitor might see a community of homes. But once the visitor wanders in, that is when they can see the intricacies of each home, showing their individual characteristics, watching and hearing each one sing its own song. Why Do Birds Sing? By Robert William Service. Let poets piece prismatic words, give them the jeweled joy of birds. What ecstasy moves them to sing? Is it the lyric glee of spring? The dewy rapture of the rose? Is it the worship born in those who are of nature's self a part, the adoration of the heart? Is it the mating mood in them that makes each crystal note a gem? O mockingbird and nightingale, O mavis, lark, and robin, hail! Tell me what perfect passion glows in your inspired arpeggios. A thrush is thrilling as I write its obligato of delight, and in its fervor as in mine I fathom tenderness divine, and pity those of earthy ear who cannot hear, who cannot hear, who cannot hear, who cannot hear. Let poets pattern pretty words for lovely largesse. Bless you, birds.
They gave me the same look you're putting on. You should apologize profusely. Another person ain't used to me. But wouldn't you agree? Them kind words ain't enough for me. It took some years, and in between, and maybe some youth before, and all that shit just makes sense to me. And no, I don't believe I'm a sadist. The relief of cutting you off my longest list. A deluge of conversation hollow, which would you choose to follow if you come back to see? How long till the next time you leave? like me, a job without stress to select me, a promise guaranteed forever. Wait, what was it? I don't remember. If you think magically you are already what you prefer to be, I'll take a shit and then disappear unironically. And then maybe someday you'll take a shit with me. Thank you.